Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Night of Destruction number 2 at Irwindale Speedway. Tommy, I know this is one of those events that we've always kind of had marked on our calendars.
Yeah.
3 of them so far this year for Night of Destruction. But this is only number 2. The third one's later.
Yeah, we hit the halfway point of the Night of Destruction season this weekend, and man, was it a thrill ride from start to finish, all the way through. Everything in between. We crashed up so many cars. It was unbelievable. You should have seen the pits that we had to deal with. We had like 20 cars in those pit areas.
Tommy, a lot of cars to get ready for Night of Destruction. The first event of the night is going to be the Enduro. It's going to be in between a couple races. Then we're going to have a bit of a break before we get into this long string of action. Like you said, we had a ton of cars to get ready for this event. What were you? What were your thoughts the night before?
The night before, I was literally like, okay, so we're still in the middle of the corner, about to hit the home stretch. You could see the end in sight, but man, was it foggy and dusty and sparks flying and everything to do with it. But at 5 o'clock in the morning, I saw the finish line clear as day, when we had moved all of our cars that we've been working on in one little area around a power pole to get ready for Night of Destruction. We saw it all move to our pit area for Night of Destruction, and every car was parked in place, and every car was basically there to being finished. Only one day of work left, and that was in the span of a couple hours to finish it all up. So at that point, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I knew that we were okay.
So going into the event, I think it's safe to say that this was the most prepared we were ever heading into a Saturday.
Yeah.
A couple things we had to take care of before we even got to race time. We needed a new radiator hose for Shayla's car. Got it, hooked it up. We needed a couple things as well, just for cameras and whatever. I don't even remember what else.
Absolutely. I mean, it was still a bit of a thrash mode, but it always is. When you've got 10 cars to put together or to help prepare and everything else, you know there's going to be something that you left off. And yeah, the radiator caught us completely off guard. Man, was that a surprise. Yeah. But you know what? I'm almost not surprised, actually. True, very true. Yeah. But we got it all done thanks to the help of Dale and the pits, Keith Johns, you, Shayla, and I. We all thrashed, you know, leading up to this event. Couple of Sundays off, full day Sundays, and everything that we can possibly do to get ready for this night. And man, it was exciting. And we obviously show you guys all the work we do on the cars, but I think it will be understated going into this event how much work this guy did getting to this event. You were at the track every day leading up to that Night of Destruction. It just happens that my work was at where the cars are. So yeah, I could have taken the week and prepped as much as I possibly could, but even that wasn't enough. It's incredible the amount of work that everybody sees on all the other episodes leading up to this event and a lot of others. And how much work. Left. Yeah, exactly. And man, there's still some loose ends still on race day, but with the help of you guys, because I won't be showing up till about 6 o'clock.
That's right. That's right.
So with the help of you guys of all doing it during the day and me being gone, you know, it was a true testament to you guys as well.
A wild night ahead of us, Tommy. A wild night for these folks to get seen. Enduro. It's the first race of Night of Destruction for us. You have a skid plate car, I have a skid plate car. We just put on the tires, getting ready for this event.
Yep.
Your strategy going into this race?
You know, of course, looking back at the other Night of Destruction, it was a similar strategy. I wanted to maybe improve my positions, maybe run it a little bit harder because I knew what the car was going to be doing, but I still want that car to run not only for the rest of the year, but again, later on this night. I want to run the skid plate race. I want to get my fair use out of that car, and I guess more so, see if that car will last all 30 laps. We changed the lap duration. It went from 50 on the first Night of Destruction to 30 because we weren't the only ones that had transmission issues. So the officials knocked the amount of laps down a little bit. So my strategy, keep the car in one piece or as close to it as possible.
Yeah, and same with me. Really, like you talked about, cars had transmission issues. I didn't want to overheat the car or do something to it that was going to knock it out of contention for the skid plate race. Now, the problem was I had never run this car with 4 wheels on it. This was going to be the first time. It wasn't run because we did the dual in the first Enduro. So this time was my first time seeing how this car was going to react. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great kind of warm-up into Night of Destruction as far as Enduros go.
Yep.
It's in our hands, Tommy, as though the way those cars look are pretty much in our hands, 75% so. Everyone else has the rest of the say.
Very true. Well, why don't we get right to it?
It's time to start Night of Destruction number 2, August 30th, 2014 at Irwindale Speedway, the Enduro. The first event of Night of Destruction. Battery?
Ready?
Is your battery dead?
No.
Oh, hi.
I was just stopping you. You can't be behind me.
They might be, I don't know. All right. Oh boy. How bad is it?
You're good. Plastic.
Okay. I slammed the tire. Dude, I got slammed in the back so hard. I was like, I'd love to know who pushed me into you, because I dumped you hard.
Yeah, dude, I turned around like, what the hell just happened? Like, I got spun out.
I was literally just riding, and then boom! It's ready to go. I am amazed that the light stayed intact. And that, folks, is a wrap. The Enduro is over.
So much for keeping it in one piece. So much for keeping the body panels on them. I guess we did keep it in one piece and the body panels on them. But we did
just in different areas.
We did run into a few things though.
Yeah, no, Tommy, that Enduro, like we talked about at the beginning, it was a 30 lap, 15 and 15 break. We actually had a caution at one point in it. Yeah. Restarts were kind of wild on it. I
do love the fact that we had a caution. I want everybody to realize that we had a caution because the track was completely scattered on the last corner.
On lap 2.
On lap number 2. I mean, you can see in the video, you were going every way. I was trying to figure out what the way the track was.
Well, I mean, you know, you talk about damage. The first thing that happened to me, damage-wise, was that I hit a tire. You see it here, me hitting that tire. That's because it was not where it was supposed to be. I don't know where that tire came from, but it was smack dab in the middle of the track. You barely missed it, but by the time I got to it, there was nowhere I was going to go.
Yeah, no, and it came up to me on a surprise, too. I kind of was busy trying to look over ahead in the future of where I was wanting to go, and I looked to see a tractor tire was there, so I had to take evasive action. So, like usual, the person behind, you make a split decision move, the person that's not ready for it. I ran into another tractor tire, so I guess I
saw that.
You hit one and I hit the next one. Yeah, that was another one of those things where you're looking ahead, trying to figure out where you gotta go. I completely blew that corner, overshot it way too fast, and then I knew, okay.
It wasn't the only time we saw him take a corner too fast.
Knocked over a couple of cones, hit a few people, and the whole rest of that race, I mean, a lot of the times during that race, I checked to see the gauge and make sure that the water temperature wasn't going high. It never moved. That car is solid, and I think yours was the same.
Yeah, no, really no complaints as far as my car goes. I talk about hitting the tire, but my biggest damage, the biggest, I guess you could say, excitement moment for that car was in fact, well, I had a couple excitement moments. The biggest damage came when I rear-ended a car. Why did I rear-end that guy? I wasn't quite paying attention at that point. I was looking ahead, I guess, and by the time I looked forward, he stopped. I wasn't expecting it, and I slammed in the back.
So it's clearly in this section that shows that we just don't pay attention out there. Yeah, and what's funny about that was I heard the guy spinning next to me, and I knew you were behind me. So I go to check the rearview mirror, not paying attention to what's going on in front of me, and I see you just crash into that guy. And believe it or not, folks, it comes at no surprise. During that time, Jeff and I were side by side trying to block the field. So once you got crashed, I said, well, you're back there, and I'm just gonna keep going. So,
what was your most exciting moment in that race?
I would say hitting the tractor tire, because I wasn't expecting it, and my car all of a sudden came to a somewhat abrupt stop. I didn't know what I hit until I saw a white tire flying in front of my bumper. There was a couple of moments where I bumped into a few people, and
there was a Bowman where he bumped.
That's right. And but yeah, the tractor tire got it for me.
The one for me has to be on the restart of one of the few restarts we had in that race. I got slammed in the back of me, and it pushed me into the smallest car on the track, the 23. He had nothing he could do. He got spun around. He got spun around. Not Panama Man.
No, not Panama Man.
But yeah, he got spun around, and he got clobbered, and he talked to me after the race. He's like, hey, like just like this face, hey, you took me out, you know? And I was like, I'm sorry. Because there's nothing I could have done.
He took out a 3-cylinder car.
I did. I'm a bully. Now, Tommy, one thing we talked about right after the race was how cautions were kind of odd in this race, because everyone was passing people during the yellows. Now, I get people aren't quite used to yellows in this, but there was one guy who passed me, and I was like, no, screw you. I'm going to let you know you passed me. I slammed in the back of him. I was like, I'm going to let him know.
Well, it's funny because I was getting ticked off during that caution because I saw people passing me, but I didn't know you and I don't have a headset, and I'm pretty sure we're the only two that don't have radio headsets like we're supposed to.
Don't tell anybody.
We're bad examples, so definitely not going to try to lead anybody. But we're the only two that out there that don't have radio communication with the race director and us. So for all I knew, that they were lap cars trying to get through, or I was a lap car and they were sending the leaders around. But I was getting ticked off out there, and I was like, come on guys, what are we doing? Passing under caution like it's a race. And then I was kind of more relieved because I was getting pretty hot under the collar there, and I didn't mind what was going to happen or who was going to stop me. But then I realized that my car was moving up the scoreboard. So
yeah,
that's what kind of chilled me out, and I was like, okay, so something happened that I don't know happened.
So yeah, not the I say mediocre finish for me, but you got yourself in the top 10.
Yeah, I've worked my way into the top 10. I watched myself go into the top 10, and I was driving hard. I was getting sideways, as the video shows, trying to chase people down, and then I got into a couple of tractor tires or whatever the case may be, and I knew that the race was over for me. I knew I fell out of that top 10 and started just driving it easy because I knew I wanted to get to that skid plate race. And then I look at the scoreboard and I'm an 8th. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll take it.
There you go. Well, both those cars are still running. It doesn't look like we busted anything in that race. It came close. Came close. My radiator's bent, but not busted.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap up on the Enduro race. But coming up next, for the first time ever on the Low Budgets, Auto Zone.
Oh boy.